Hey everybody, welcome back to Cody Tarot. I'm your tarot reader, Cody. So for today's pick a card, we're going to be doing what surprises or good news is coming to you. What surprises, what blessings, what kind of good positive thing is going to come your way. So, I got this idea from my friend Hannah, who has a channel called Blatherby, and yeah, I was in the middle of watching her reading, which was like a general message to everyone. And I kind of thought, like, I have to film this reading. Like, it just feels right. It just feels like the right thing to film right now. And I'm really, like, inspired to film this one. So hopefully this one turns out good and hopefully you guys like it. So without further ado, let's get into the crystals. For group one, we have this, they're all generators today. So we have this ocean Jasper generator. For group two, we have this Lepidolite generator. For group three, we have a Prehnite generator. So take all the time you need to pick your crystal, or AKA tower / generator, and then we'll get into the reading. So remember, there's no right or wrong way to pick your crystal. Whatever way that works for you that gets you the most accurate reading is probably the right way. So, well, it is the right way because, you know, as long as you're resonating with the reading, that's the important thing, you know? So, yeah, so let's get into the reading, starting with group one with the Ocean Jasper generator. Hey, group one, this is if you picked the Ocean Jasper generator right here. Very cool, very varied stone, lots of variations in the stone. Let's get into your reading. So I have the decks we're gonna pull from, but as far as it goes, that's all I've planned. I don't know how many cards from each deck we're gonna get. I'm gonna leave this very like spontaneous and open-ended. But yeah, I have the 3 oracle decks we're gonna pull from and the tarot cards that we're gonna pull from today. So let's get started with some oracle cards. So I'm going to pull this numerology deck that I have. We're going to see what comes out here as far as blessings go. I forgot that this deck doesn't shuffle that well, so if you are into purchasing tarot decks, this one's not... it's sticky. It's like sticky when you shuffle it. I'll show you guys, like, when you try, it's like gets stuck. Okay, let's draw from the top. Okay, we have nature. I'm gonna draw one more. And we have perseverance. I'm also going to draw a Moonology Manifestation Oracle card. We got 2 of them. We have Go For It and Trust the Universe. I'm gonna pull some tarot cards, and then we'll get some. Okay, we have. There we go. And one more. And last but not least, I'm going to pull 2 of these cards, these pretty colorful crystal cards, crystal deck. What's this deck called? Crystal Wisdom. And this one wants to come out. We have Opal, my soul sings and dances to thy vibrations of joy. And it's funny, this woman like right here looks like she's dancing. And we also have Prehnite. I trust myself in the divine flow of the universe. Funny enough, the third stone of the crystals that you select at the beginning of the reading, Prehnite was one of them. So maybe a few of you were like drawn to this stone. You were also drawn to Prehnite, but you like decided on this stone. This is your sign that you picked the right stone. But it's showing you that Prehnite is like, could be an important stone that you might want to work with coming up. Okay, I feel like a lot of you coming to this reading have kind of like a decision or a choice to make about some kind of opportunity or journey. I'm seeing that with nature here, you're being presented with an opportunity to reconnect with nature. That's kind of the new blessing coming in for you. One thing that I'm noticing with the Five of Pentacles right here, I feel like some of you are worried that there's this trip you want to do and you're worried you might not be able to afford it. Or you might not be able to weather the storms of this kind of trip. But what I'm seeing here is you do have enough perseverance to get through this trip, to accomplish these goals, basically. I'm saying with the Chariot in reverse, you're very internally motivated, but it's not showing on the external. So for example, you're not actively pursuing your goals or accomplishing things or doing the typical victory dance. But you're internally, you're like ready for a change. You're ready for a new thing coming, new change, new motivation, basically. We have here with Prehnite, I trust myself in the divine flow of the universe. This is basically just saying that like it's important to trust that inner feeling. It's important to trust that inner guidance system that we have with the Chariot in reverse, because that little spark of movement that you're feeling inside, you can explore it on the outside. It's okay to go and journey forth into this kind of unknown area. With nature, it's kind of reminding me of the unknown, how you kind of travel from, maybe a lot of you are like live in a city or something like that, and you've never been away from, or it's rare that you get the chance to leave and go explore nature. But the opportunity that's being presented to itself and the good news that's coming is you get this opportunity to explore this natural setting. So for a lot of you, this is going to be like an invitation coming to you, something along those lines. Like an invitation to go on a hike or something like that. I'm definitely saying you should take it up, because I see that like you really, really deeply connect with nature, and you have kind of like an out of body experience with the purple right here in the nature card, or like surrounded by the green. It's like you have this out of body experience that deeply affects your heart. So I definitely really am seeing going for it, connecting with nature, getting out there, doing it. We have new moon in Aries, go for it. Something that could be interesting for some of you is that an Aries friend or an Aries acquaintance might be encouraging you to do this trip. They might either be the one inviting you, or they might be the one that's kind of like pushing you to do it. Like maybe you're telling them or confiding in them like, hey, like I really want to go, and this doesn't have to be an Aries. This could just be a friend, basically. But I'm seeing for a lot of you, this is an Aries friend. That's this Aries person that's really motivating you or pushing you into doing this next thing. And you're kind of like, I don't know if I should do it. I don't know if I'm ready. Like I feel weak, or like I feel like at a disadvantage in this situation. I don't think I could compete with everyone else. What we're seeing here is that one thing you're going to learn about this specific thing, going out into nature and going on this hike or experience or whatever this is, in natural settings, we have perseverance here. So something you're really going to learn about yourself is how much grit you have, how much like determination you have to get this thing accomplished, right? And it's really, really beautiful how that kind of like that inner motivation gets expressed outward in the perseverance card. The Chariot is someone who kind of can get through all the tasks with willpower and kind of churn through the different. With the Chariot, it's kind of like saying that you have to pull these two kind of sphinxes, who are two very different sphinxes. You have one light and one dark. You have to pull them in the same direction to get the Chariot to move forward. This can be an aspect in duality. So for example, some of you going on this trip, or before you go on this trip, you might be weighing kind of like, for some of you, this just came into that you might be like moving homes, or you might be like trying to move out to a place where there's more nature. That's kind of the blessing that you're getting, is you're getting an invitation or a request or something to move to a location where there's more nature. Yeah, but the Chariot reverse basically just indicates that with the two sphinxes, it's like in your head, there might be a dualistic battle going on where you're thinking like, on one hand, I'm a lot like this, but then you have you have like, it's kind of like the two angels on your shoulder. You have the little angel saying, oh, you're like da 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 da. Like maybe the angel's saying something like, you can really go on this trip. You could really connect with nature. You'd really enjoy it. And the devil's saying, no, you won't. You're weak. You don't have what it takes. You'll get injured, whatever the two aspects are. And the thing is with the chariot, the goal of the chariot is to unite these two voices into one and move them forward. That's kind of the vibe you get with the chariot. That's kind of what creates the willpower, because when you have those weighing back and forth, it kind of could create that sense of indecision. So it's really being asked of you to kind of like integrate those two sides of yourself, basically. I trust myself in the divine flow of the universe. Trust is really key here. I think that you're getting signs from the universe about this trip or about this experience, signs that are telling you to go into nature or go into kind of like an area where you can really relax, breathe, and let your guard down. And we see with the crown chakra right here, getting in touch with nature is actually going to increase this ability that connects you to the universe tenfold. For a lot of you, you might be in spiritual careers. I'm kind of seeing that here with the third eye chakra represented in the first quarter moon in Aquarius. And we also have a double confirmation with trust the universe right over on this side too. So I'm definitely seeing that like what could be on one side with this card, a piece of advice of like to trust the universe to get to this point. I feel like once you get to this point, you will really have full faith in the universe, trust in the universe. Your third eye will be more activated and you'll have more of a spiritual establishment in the world, like a spiritual, it's like you're grounded, but you're almost like grounded in an ethereal quality. It's kind of hard to explain because I'm seeing for a lot of you, there's a certain heaviness about your nature, about your mental state, I guess is the best way to put it. Like it's like you're missing some kind of lighter feeling. We have a lot about the heart chakra here, and that can provide a very light kind of loving feeling. And so basically what I'm saying, we have some higher realm chakras, so go for it. This is kind of representative of the beginning of your journey, more rooted, And yes, this nature will ground you, but I'm definitely seeing that at the same time, it's going to bring out your lighter character, your lighter side. With the Queen of Swords here, with her hand rising above these clouds, she's literally taking her hand and her energy and pulling it above like if you look at these clouds, these are very low-lying clouds. They lie really low to the ground, and she's kind of rising up above the clouds. So I definitely see that you'll have this like experience where you're basically lighter than air. For some of you too, this experience could be skydiving, because we do have a swords card here. So this could be indicating that part of the experience of nature could be something about heights or being really high up, or like skydiving or flying a plane or something like that. I'm definitely feeling something kind of like something where you're nervous about doing it, but with the perseverance card, there is actually a payoff to this. And you're going to learn how strong you are over time with this kind of activity. Some of you, it won't even be over time. It'll be like really quickly, you'll learn like, man, I've got this. Like I'm really cut out for this type of thing, and you're going to kind of fit into it very naturally. For those of you where this is not an activity, this is not like you're not running like a marathon through the mountains or something like that. For a lot of you, this is going to be moving and relocating to a place where there's a lot of nature, right? And your friends kind of encouraging you to go for that. And with the perseverance card, you're kind of realizing that, maybe you didn't need the whole city of people that you used to live with, or maybe you didn't need the whole like maybe you were a big clubber or something. You don't need the club scene anymore. You're just kind of looking for that relaxing kind of getaway, So maybe you're realizing that you kind of build up your perseverance through the ability of just being in nature, rather than it being a daunting task that you have to do. It's like just connecting with nature or moving to nature. It's like that's what builds up your perseverance. That's kind of what's that's gonna give you the courage, or reignite the courage for your goals. Reignite the kind of grit and determination to achieve those goals. With Opal, it says, my soul sings and dances to the vibration of joy. I think you're really going to find a sense of joy in this whole next blessing coming into your life. I think it's going to be really beneficial for you, and it's going to really help you it's going to clear your head. With the Queen of Swords here, you're going to get like a sense of clarity. Yeah, sometimes, like I specifically, I've used with, like I've done a little bit of, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I've done a little bit of crystal healing stuff with the crystals that I own with like random friends and stuff like that. And I like to use Prehnite for people who think obsessive thoughts or who can't get out of their head. You know, Prehnite is like good stone to hold on to kind of clear obsessive energy, especially if you're in love with someone and you can't get over them. It's like it clears out those obsessive thoughts and kind of makes you clear-headed again. I'm definitely seeing with new moon in Aries, well, first of all, the nature is going to help you do that. But then with the new moon in Aries, this friend that's coming forward that's kind of helping you with this, or giving you the green light, basically, I think that they're trying to help dispel these negative thoughts. So when they come in, I would say let them, like, let yourself, feel their encouragement fully, right? Because, Aries are a very passionate sign, right? And when they're encouraging you, it's like important to let that soak in and not block it off, because it can really change your situation. And I'm definitely seeing you have the inner drive, the inner determination to do this activity or to go to this extra distance, right? It's just a matter of like going for it or actually stepping into that role, you know? With this group, it's not so much a blessing that's just coming to you that you can't help. It's like there's a little bit of a push with go for it here. You're gonna have to kind of push yourself into this kind of situation just a little bit. But it's amazing how much this does for your character, right? If you feel like you're, specifically with this group, I'm getting a lot of energy of like people who feel like they can't just do the bare minimum, right? Like I feel like you're one of these people out in the cold with like a broken leg, you know, and you can barely move, you can barely function, but recharging in this specific way, I think is going to bring a lot of perseverance to your character and give you that grit and determination you need for that extra step in your life, you know? Your blessing is kind of like this beautiful natural surroundings that are going to come and find you, basically. And like I said, for some of you, there is going to be an actual invitation from someone, probably in Aries, about like going into nature. Could be also an Aquarius. We do have the first quarter moon in Aquarius. But yeah, trusting the universe is key here. That's a big thing, a reason why this blessing is being like provided for you. So I really hope you take it. I really hope you guys enjoy this, what's coming for you. It sounds lovely. I know I don't get to connect with nature enough, and so this sounds like really lovely and wonderful. So enjoy it and have a good time. So I really enjoyed reading for you guys. If you like this reading, feel free to like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. And with that said, we're going to move on to the second group with the Lepidolite generator. Hey, group 2, this is if you picked the Lepidolite generator right here. So this will be your reading. So let's get right into it. So group 1 was my experimental group. I kind of figured out how I was doing the spread based off that group. So we're gonna do a very similar spread. Keep it fair for everybody. The cards that don't shuffle well. Okay, let's draw some cards for your blessings. We have patience and we have completion. Okay. Let's get some Moonology manifestation cards. I really love the art on this deck for some reason. Okay, so we have 2 cards. We have last quarter moon in Capricorn and we have last quarter moon in Scorpio. I'm sensing a theme here. Let's draw some tarot cards for you guys. This card wants to come out. We have Temperance. We have 4 of Swords. And And we have King of Cups. There's some other cards that flipped up upright too. I'm going to show you. I'm not taking them. I'm just going to show them to you. The Moon, the Queen of Wands, and the Ten of Wands. So if those are significant to you, maybe you've been feeling some anxiety over your, charisma and how that affects your working life. But let's just get into the reading. Actually, I'm going to set these cards to the side right here, and then I'll pull them into the reading if we need to use them. Okay, so now we're going to draw one of these lovely crystal wisdom cards. We got Boji stones for over here. And we have Scolecite over here. I totally thought this reading was going in another direction, but after looking at the cards, it looks like this is the next thing coming in for you is a relationship, is kind of what I'm seeing, but or a person, but this could also be like a job or a task or something that you're trying to complete. It's going to be, I'm going to give a more general reading for this pile because I think there's two ways it could go, or there's two ways it could be. So bear with me when I'm doing this reading for you guys. So let's get into it. So first of all, we have our two cards up here. We have patience and completion. The reason why this whole relationship thing came into my mind is because this 2 and 2s represent partnerships. So I'm definitely seeing that there could be a partnership, and I'm also seeing Capricorn and Scorpio. And I don't know why, for some reason right now, literally just right now, my intuition was like Capricorn and Scorpio, match made in heaven. I don't know why that's coming through. And because they're both in the last quarter moon, I feel like the person you're attracting is someone who is also on the same path as you, or is rotating at the same place as you, basically. So for example, for example, the moon is in the same, it's still light and dark on each side, but it's the moon is in the same exact position for both of these cards. It's just that one's Scorpio and one's Capricorn. So it's you have an earth sign and a water sign, and the moon is kind of I'm trying to find words to explain this. I feel like you guys are just on the same path and you travel side by side. It's not like one of you is ahead of the other one in knowledge or advancement, or one's behind the other one. I feel like you guys equally travel side by side. That's the type of person that's coming in for you. And with partnership, I'm definitely saying this could be a business partner, but for the most part with the Temperance card and the King of Cups, I'm seeing that this is more of a love interest, or someone who is kind of coming into your life for emotional purposes or emotional reasons. This is someone with the Boji stones. I am balanced, whole, and complete. This is someone coming in that's going to really balance you, right? But I definitely see there's a little bit of work that kind of has to be done to get this person, right? And it's kind of one of those things where it's as soon as it kind of happens, it's going to just roll off. It's going to feel so natural. I feel like with this group, it's going to be a lot easier than you think it's going to be. I know I said the word work, but it's going to feel a little bit easier than that. And for those of you who are going into a project, or you're trying to complete a project, bear with me while I talk about the relationship, and if I can try to integrate the project interpretation of this reading, I will. So yeah, first of all, with leave the past behind, last quarter moon in Capricorn, you're really being asked to leave past ideas about who you are as a person behind you. So for example, with I am an instrument of peace, I'm seeing that a lot of you struggle with this idea that you are a aggressive person, or you have an anger problem, or you have kind of aggressive urges or something like that. I'm definitely seeing that for a lot of you, it's you have this issue with kind of either controlling people or getting angry with them, or being a little too jealous in your relationships. And it's caused a lot of conflict in your relationships. I'm seeing that in the past, it's caused breakups, it's caused fights, it's caused it's caused fights that didn't even need to be had, because, how do I put this? I feel like for a lot of you, it's been difficult. It's been difficult and hard in relationships because I feel like there's a tendency for conflict in the relationships that you've had. Now, don't get that idea too screwed on to your head, because it's not necessarily all your fault. You know, with the Temperance card, this is just an aspect about balance, right? The Temperance card represents a few things. First of all, it represents that you have divine protection on your path, and not just protection, but you have divine guidance. Your angels and guides are bringing you a specific person, you know, that is basically going to like really help in the long run. And the thing is, they're asking you to have patience with the Patience card, right? And in the meantime, with the 2 here and the Patience card being an orange card, they're asking you to get in touch with your creativity, because that's going to really help channel your aggressions into a productive outlet. So for example, say you are, you're finding that you're like raging off at like your loved ones or something, and you're just like, man, why can't I just have peaceful relationships? I feel like you want peaceful relationships, but the cards are urging you to kind of leave that idea behind you. It's like, leave that past idea in the past. You know, with I am an instrument of peace, this is basically, I want you guys to really look at this card too. I'm an instrument of peace is a really key word or phrase in this reading, because it's going to be a phrase you're going to want to repeat to yourself. I am an instrument of peace. I'm an instrument of peace. Because I'm definitely seeing you're going to go through this transformation. It's kind of like what lies on one end of the spectrum with like war and hurt and domination. The other end of the spectrum also exists in that same body of person, right? It's like you have that side of you that has peace. You have that side of you that has love. You have that side of you that has that caring attitude, you know? So for those of you who are in a relationship or going into a relationship, it's kind of one of those things where it's like you're gonna want to kind of use this affirmation. And with the orange card, it's urging you to get creative. So if you have pent up energy, instead of kind of like expressing it in kind of like a way that releases anger, express it in a way that releases creativity. So for example, this could be like painting a picture, or, you know, if you have your own tarot cards, doing tarot readings and just getting creative with it and playing around with it, you know. This is going to be really, really beneficial for you, and is really going to help you kind of level out a little bit. And your angels and guides are going to present opportunities for this to happen. It's not just one of those things. Like, this reading is truly the blessings and things coming to you. So there's going to be opportunities for all these things from the universe that's going to guide you in this direction. For example, you might have one of your friends or something invites you to a painting class, or invites you to a drawing class, or a music class, or something like that, where an experimental creativity type of vibe thing. And you might have another person kind of say, like, remind you that you've changed a lot. Maybe a friend's going to come up to you, you know, and say like, you know, you've really been different lately, or you've really been, a lot of these things are going to build up, and it is a building journey, right? With the Patience card, I'm seeing that this is leading to a completion. This is leading to a long-term partnership. And for those of you who this is a career, this is one of those things where this has been affecting your career. So your aggressive tendencies have been affecting your career, and kind of like how you've been engaging with your work colleagues, or how you make your money and stuff like that. And I feel like for a lot of you too, like, it's not just aggressive tendencies. For those of you who are asking about a job, it's just like, it's like frustration over money, right? It's like the idea of money, or the idea of not having money, or the idea of like having to deal with money issues is very frustrating. So you get angry easily about those issues, right? And so basically saying you're an instrument of peace, and keeping that peaceful attitude no matter what through the process of anything that you're doing when you're working is going to really benefit you and bring you to a level of completion a lot faster. The Four of Swords here in the resting period is really indicative of this, that when you are feeling hot-headed, or when you are feeling like frustrated at dealing with these financial aspects of your life, it's a good time to take a time out, take a breather, rest, meditate, do whatever you need to do, take some deep breaths, and kind of always come at these attitudes with peace and feeling peaceful. And with leave the past behind, for those of you who this is a work-related thing or a project-related thing, for a lot of you it might not just be work, it might be like a specific project. Leave the past behind is like, leave behind any preconceptions or ideas that you've had of yourself, of who you are and why you can't do this, basically. With patience and this creativity, it's asking to take a creative approach with this project, right? Remain peaceful and take a creative approach. So it applies for really both groups in this situation. It applies for the people with the work project and the relationship. It just really represents kind of like taking a more relaxed approach is what we're seeing here with the Four of Swords. Basically, with reveal what needs to be seen and completion, I'm definitely seeing that you guys, it's interesting. I'm seeing for a lot of you, you have earth sign placements or something like that, and you're bringing in someone with water sign placements for the most part. Others of you, it's going to be the opposite. You're going to be more of like a Scorpio energy, and you're bringing in that Capricorn energy. But whatever way it is, this person's kind of, with the way the moons are, with both being last quarter moons, this person's kind of a twin flame. So there is some aspects that are similar to you, basically, but they're going to be slightly different in the sense that they have different kind of energies. It's funny because as I'm doing this reading, I'm feeling that I'm reading for, like, one group is the opposite of the other group. So for example, people who are relating to this group in the working aspect or the project aspect are the opposite of the group that needs to do this in the relationship aspect, if that makes sense. I feel like it's a very similar journey, and that's what kind of creates that kind of twin flame kind of vibe, but with different subject matter, basically. So with the King of Cups, this card is all about balance. It's about having kind of like internal composure at all times so you can handle the stresses of life. And that's something that's really coming through with this group, specifically with the project example that I was talking about, because basically, if you're centered in yourself, and I am an instrument of peace, if you're constantly building up that inner strength of peace within yourself, you'll be able to handle any kind of difficulty around yourself. The King of Cups is a master of handling emergency situations, specifically in emotions. He's almost like a master diplomat in this particular case, for those of you who are dealing with relationships. And for those of you who are dealing with work, he's a master at handling any kind of emergency that comes up that would be related to your project. Basically, with patience, this is just indicating this process is going to take time, but your angels are pushing you on that process right now. I feel like as you're watching this reading, it's already like begun. You've already gotten signs for this. You've already gotten signs for becoming and growing into this new person, right? So leaving the past behind, getting rid of those preconceived, like, or those notions of who you are. And these could be notions from like that you've maybe told yourself, that someone told you somewhere down the line or something like that, and they're just not true, but you're like, you would feel it. That's the thing. You would feel that you're like playing a role, that it's like, or you would have an aspiration. Like you might feel like you're stuck and you have this aspiration to become something, but this idea of who you are is holding you back. You don't want to let like an identity trap confine you, right? An identity trap is anything where it's like, if someone tells you, we can sometimes get into these in, like what makes you attractive readings, because you get a reading like that and you think like, oh, that's me, or that's like how I am, but also we are malleable and we do grow. And so you're being asked to leave the past behind in this situation to grow into who you're becoming. Completion is coming up for you. And with 2 to 9, I'm definitely seeing that this could take like the amount of time in between 2 to 9, like 7 months. It could take 7 months, but by the time you get this completion, this partner's coming in, and it's really cool because you'll both be able to reflect on your journey when you guys meet each other, right? And I'm definitely like, doesn't have to be, but I'm getting strong vibes of Capricorn and Scorpio. And so because these planets are in similar positions, I'm seeing that for a lot of you, their Scorpio energy is going to be similar to where your Capricorn energy is, and vice versa. With Boji stones, I am balanced, whole, and complete. You're really coming to this sense of like completion, balance. With the King of Cups, we have balance here too. So it's not just something that's like, you're going to be feeling like you're keeping a lid on it all the time, or you have to kind of control it all the time or something like that, or fix it all the time. It's going to feel very natural, very, and the thing is you still might have moments of anger or frustration, but the point is, it's like, you have this internal center that you've been working on that can like make you able to accomplish all these things, whether it's in relationships or whether it's in a project you're doing. So the best thing for you guys right now is like, I don't know, like I'm just feeling this is a really good thing. And with Temperance here, your angels are saying you're ready for this. You're ready for this journey, to take this journey and work on yourself in this way. So this is really, really cool. I think also patience has a double meaning too, that you're going to be learning patience. For those of you who get frustrated with that work project, you're going to be learning patience. And for those of you who kind of are dealing with a partner, a romantic partner, you'll be learning patience with that partner. So it's like another kind of meaning to it as well. The one thing I have not covered yet that I just want to get to briefly, this reading's running a little long. I'm just kind of excited about this file because I'm excited for you guys to go through this. But reveal what needs to be seen. I feel like once you meet this person or once you have this completion of this project, it's going to reveal a secret piece of information for you, right? Something that you're going to need to know about your life or your journey. And it's going to be, how do I put this? It's going to be really beautiful. I think it's going to be eye-opening, and I think you guys might even cry or have kind of like an emotional moment when you hear this information. It's going to kind of like lock into you. This can also be something that reveal what needs to be seen. Your spouse or the person you're becoming, if this is a relationship, if you're feeling more of the long lines of the relationship type of vibe for this reading, then this is going to be someone that's going to say a few things to you when you first meet, or you're going to have an encounter, and it's going to be a pretty emotional encounter, a pretty intense encounter. You're going to be revealing things to each other that you probably didn't expect someone to see in you, but you're also okay with them seeing it in you. You know, it's kind of like it's like this person's going to see something in you that you didn't see in yourself, and it just resonates really, really deeply. It's like all these kind of past ideas about your identity can be kind of totally, completely flushed down the drain, right? Because it's like this one just resonates on a heart level. And I feel like a lot of you have been trying to find that piece of your identity that just resonates on that heart level. And so that's going to be really important when this completion comes and this person comes in, or when you complete this project, right? And I feel like for those of you who complete the project and stuff, because I'm still seeing you meeting a partner. There's just such strong vibes of partnership in this pile, and especially with that 2 there. It's just one of those things where I'm seeing that like you get a piece of information that just really resonates with you basically by the end of this whole process, and that's kind of like the final cherry on top, you know. And I think your angels, it's funny this card comes up because they really want you to know that they're behind all of this and they're helping you through every step of the way, and you're not alone. So I really enjoyed giving you guys this reading. What an empowering reading to give. I really appreciated being able to read for you today. And if you like this reading, please feel free to like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. With that said, I'm wishing you guys the best on your journey. It's a really beautiful journey. I'm really excited for you to go on it. And we're going to move on to group 3 with the Prehnite. Hey, group 3, this is if you picked the Prehnite right here, this beautiful green stone that eases the worries of the mind. Okay, so let's get into your guys' reading. Today is what good news or blessings are coming your way, and we'll start off with the cards that don't shuffle well. I made this joke in like every group. I forgot that these cards don't have like the best shuffling as far as like, you know. Okay, let's see what we have here. Manifestation. This one wants to come out right at the bottom, and we have rebirth. And we're going to draw 2 Moonology manifestation cards. It's funny we have the word manifestation here. Okay, we have to draw these. We have our first card. We have full moon in Capricorn, take a reality check. And we have first quarter moon in Gemini, speak your world into being. We have the 8 of Wands. The Fool. And we also have the Sun. The Death card in reverse came up, but there's no room on the table to take it. So I just want to let you know that what this is meaning to me is that these changes or this thing coming in is going to be more permanent than you realize. It's not going to be that changeable or moving from one thing to the next or a phase or something like that. This is going to be something you can rely on again and again and again. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to keep it over here on the side of the table in case I need to pull it for the rest of the reading. Okay, so now we're going to draw a Crystal Wisdom card and get some messages for this reading as well. We have Amber. My ancestors are guiding and loving me now and always. I am open to receive their support and wisdom. And we also have draw one. And we also have Agate. Every little cell in my body is happy and healthy. Wow. Okay, let's get into your reading. So, first thing I want to talk about, with full moon and Capricorn, take a reality check, and Amber here, my ancestors are guiding and loving me now and always. I'm open to receiving their support and wisdom. One thing that you'll probably know if you're in this group is your ancestors or your, either your grandparents or their great grandparents or something like that. You have kind of some lineage with your ancestors where they're very, very serious. There's like a strong Capricorn kind of vibe in your ancestors. So with take a reality check, this is very interesting because I'm seeing that there's certain things with your family where you've probably had a struggle with integrating a sense of, with the 8 here and the pink card, I'm definitely seeing that things may have come easy to you in early life. With the pink, I'm kind of seeing it as representative of youth, and we have the Fool and the Sun card here. Things may have came kind of easy to you in early life. But at the same time, you had family members that were always saying, like, pay attention to reality, or don't focus on fantasy too much, or remember, be real, be focused in the real world, So I'm definitely seeing part of that is one of those things where it's like, in this particular reading, where you're basically figuring out how to synthesize that information through this kind of reading. It's interesting because what I'm seeing with Take a Reality Check and your ancestors helping you over here, I'm seeing that opening up to this advice is not you. I feel like for a lot of you, you felt like it hindered you in the past, right? But opening up to this advice and using it in your own way is going to be a great starting off point for manifestations, right? It's like you have the ability to achieve and get what you want, but it's like only if you take a reality approach first. So it's like you almost don't realize how much your ancestors have actually been helping you in this situation, because they are kind of the ones who are always showing you what the reality is of the situation. And then you're the one that kind of dreams up the fantasies or the manifestations for that reality, right? It's just interesting how it works out. You're kind of the spiritual one in your family situation, right? Where they're all kind of like real, like, okay, be real, be, be grounded in reality and stuff like that. It's interesting because what you thought was like them weighing you down is actually them giving you a jumping off point to start from. So it's interesting because if you integrate your sense of fantasy with this sense of reality, I'm seeing when you do that, that's kind of the blessing coming in for you, is it's going to really add an extra kick to your manifestations. And instead of just being kind of like receiving things in life or receiving like gifts from the universe, but you didn't really ask for them, basically what's going to happen is and that's great because that's a sense of gratitude. That's basically being grateful for what comes into your life, whether you ask for it or not, and that's amazing. But what I'm seeing here is you'll have the ability to actually ask for what you want and get it based on jumping off or starting off from this point of reality, right? I'm seeing that this transformation, it's interesting. I'm not really seeing how it comes, but I'm seeing that it's coming. I'm not really seeing like the process it takes to get there. It might be a conversation you have with your parents or about their grandparents or something. I'm definitely seeing getting in touch with your ancestral lineage is going to be very important here. So looking up where the culture you come from, things about that culture, what they believe. is really going to help integrate these energies into your being. For a lot of you, it might not even be that your family is like focused on the real world so much, but it might be that there's a link in your family lineage and some kind of information's coming to light in your family lineage about your abilities and your magical abilities based on what your ancestors could do. It's kind of like what you can also do also. So for example, if you had ancestors that were psychic, you might find out that your relatives or everyone in your family has been very, very like practical, all the time. And then just in casual conversation, you might have a relative say something about another relative. The psychic's just an example. It could be anything, but they could say like, oh yeah, great Aunt Marge was a little, loony herself or something, like she would predict the future or predict the weather or something like that. And you're just like, whoa, great Aunt Marge. And so when you get more into it, you ask questions about her, you realize that you're a part of this lineage, right? Where there's kind of like a give and take between reality and fantasy. There's kind of this back and forth. So there's a reason why you're in the family that you're in. And so listening to the voices of your ancestors, even the people who are the most realistic and pragmatic, that's going to be the best jumping off point for your manifestations, because it's going to give you a baseline to grow from, basically. With the Fool card, I'm seeing that like it's almost like when you realize this, it's like the world is your playground. I feel like when you start to integrate this and you realize that you're just another block in this ancestral lineage that's like meant to be, like, it gives you this sense of purpose or mission. And so I'm seeing that the blessing that's coming to you is this piece of information, basically, about your ancestors or someone in your family. And if you don't get this information from someone in your family, you're just going to kind of feel it internally. Like, it's almost like, okay, I see, or you're starting to see how your vibe works off of your family's vibe. Even though it was conflicting at one point, you're starting to see how that conflict is not really existent. It's like the reality actually makes the fantasy better. It's an interesting dichotomy. But most importantly, it's a helpful dichotomy. It's something that's really going to help you and give you a jumping off point. With this Fool energy, I see you kind of having a new carefree, optimistic attitude for the world. If you were kind of worried or you've been down lately about this kind of this optimistic attitude, or not having the sense of optimism that you used to when you were a child, I'm definitely seeing that coming back for you. And with the Sun card here, this is just indicating like really, really positivity. With the Fool and the Sun, it's like you get the carefree attitude and the rebirth of the positivity. And that's where this rebirth card comes in, right? I see that it gives you a new sense of being, and it's almost like you're starting to integrate your imaginative side with your family's pragmatism, and it kind of goes through this transformation. I mean, we have death here that came up, and this represents a transformation, and with it being in reverse, it kind of represents a transformation that's going to be very long lasting. We see that again here with the Eight of Wands, basically meaning that this transformation, it's going to be potent and powerful, but it's going to be a slow progression from there into a growth of your new being or your new person who you are. And I'm seeing 8 and 16, and 8 plus 8 equals 16. So I'm definitely seeing one of those things where this is a doubling of your energy, right? This is a doubling of your energy, and it's going to be very, very potent and powerful. With the red, I don't know what this shape is. I think is it? Yeah, I don't know what that shape is, but basically with the red star inside here and then the blue on the outside, with Speak Your World into Being and Agate, it's like reiterating this double confirmation that you're growing into a being that is very strongly rooted in reality, and at the same time has a beautiful throat chakra that can speak the world into being. Your words are going to be very important for you, because the more grounded in reality you become, the more your words have an effect to change that reality, right? It's like you're rooted on the earth. And so like, it's, how do I put this? Like, it's like with a tuning fork, right? Or something like, it's like if you hit the air next to the tuning fork, you're not going to make a sound, right? If you're just in the air and you're just waving at the tuning fork, But if you hit the tuning fork and you ground yourself to that tuning fork, then it creates sound, right? So it's like you're grounding yourself to reality, and then the words that you speak from then, it speaks your world into being. What we have here, first quarter moon in Gemini. Yeah, and with agate here, it says, every little cell in my body is happy and healthy. This could be a good affirmation for you to say to yourself, because I definitely see that your health is going to become very, very important as well. It's like you're learning how to be healthy and stay grounded in your body and practice things like exercise and eating right and stuff like that. Whatever that means to you, that's going to be kind of like your key to unlocking this kind of like growth in the future. And it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not even seeing like you have to think about it. Like I would not think about like eating healthy, or I mean, like obviously, you know, if you want to eat healthy, but like I would not worry too much about the grounded, rooted, like earthy component that you're growing into, because it's going to be after this kind of catalyst with your family where you learn this piece of information. And so you're going to kind of naturally become this person who's more rooted in the earth, rooted in nature. And with Speak the World into Being, you're going to have a very magnetic and seductive voice, and seductive in a sense that it's not quite seductive, it's just magical. So I definitely think that people will be listening to you, and I definitely think your words will have a lot of power in your life. I think in a past life or in your ancestors, I think you come from a line of like witches or people who cast spells verbally on others, or into their reality. They used words and kind of mantras and kind of crafting language to create spells. So something that could work for you is like scripting, speaking, singing, like singing spells could be very beneficial. But I'm definitely seeing these gifts come in time, or they come in time. The first indication about this is just a sense of carefreeness and optimism. That's what's going to come right away when you figure out this information. What comes over time is you're just progressively getting more rooted in the earth, rooted in reality. And this is coming from your ancestors. You know, they're helping you kind of through this, or they're, you know, their destiny is to kind of represent that help, right? They represent that aspect of life that you're going to grow into. Very, very cool. I'm trying to see if I can see anything else. I think that's about it. I think from being so healthy and having that vocal ability, I think you're going to develop kind of like a nice body, like I guess is the best way to put it. Like you're going to have kind of like a really like more athletic appearance, but still be getting a lot of the things you want in life, which is really, really cool. Yeah, and remember, this is just the beginning. We have the Fool card and the Sun here, and I'm just looking at this baby on the Sun card. So this is just the beginning. When you find this information out, there's a long journey ahead of you of growing into your spirituality, growing to who you are meant to become, you know, and the key is through your ancestors. The key is finding out, you know, which great Aunt Bessie, you know, like was the loony bins, cast the spell on the neighbor's cat, you know, whatever it starts from, you know, it's just like you find out that this specific ancestor kind of like has the abilities that you have. And it's kind of like an eye opener. It's like, wow, like this kind of does pass down through our bloodlines, you know, or through my ancestors, you know. I'm even seeing for those of you who are adopted, I'm even seeing there's kind of like an aspect with them being your soul ancestors, if that makes sense. Like there's this whole aspect of your adopted family actually is kind of like meant to be with you as well. Like it's not just bloodlines. The thing is that the bloodlines, if that resonates with you, that's what it is. But like I'm also seeing it with adopted people who are adopted as well. So you might like want to look into your adopted family, the family that kind of raised you. You might want to look into that specific family, like as far as like ancestral lineage goes, you know, because it actually is going to weirdly relate to you as well. It's like somehow it was passed through and you found your way into this ancestral lineage. So keep that in mind. And yeah, I think that about does it for the reading. If you like this reading, feel free to like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. With that said, that was the last reading for today. I really enjoyed reading for you guys. It was a pleasure. Have a great day or night wherever you are. And missing you, love you guys, and I will see you in the next pick a card. Bye.